Hello, this training is for Pennsylvania ODP program, the use of the Time4Care EVV application. We're going to talk about the background, why this is needed. We're going to talk about how to make your submissions, and then we're going to cover some frequently asked questions. So EVV is electronic visit verification. And it's really a technology that is designed to capture certain information that the law says we need. It's on a smartphone or a tablet or even a landline. It's designed to verify who's delivering the service, who's providing the service, where that service is taking place, and exactly what service is it. And why is that needed? Well, in December 2016, Congress passed the 21st Century Cures Act, and that law requires knowing the location of when the service is being provided. The start and end needs to be captured. And it applied for anybody that was in the community under any of the home and community-based service programs, including self-direction. So what they're looking for, traditional timesheets moved into this EVV time capture so that they could capture the type of service that's being performed, the individual receiving the service, the date of the service, the location of the service, and the person who's providing the service, when that service starts and when that service ends. So to be EVV compliant, they need uh, smartphone that has internet connection so that those shifts, those perfect shifts that we're going to talk about, can be transmitted. If you don't have a smartphone, there is an option that utilizes the landline. For use of the landline, this particular option, you would need to register that line with public partnerships by calling our customer service. But let's get started with how do we use the Time4Care app and what do we need to do? Go to the Apple or Android store and you're going to download Time4Care. The word time, Time, the number four, and the word care, Care. Once you've located the app and you've downloaded it, what you're going to do is um, use the same username and password that you have for your My Account. If you have not completed your registration with My Account so that you have that username and password, that's your first step. Complete your registration. Once you have your username and password, then you're simply going to click log in. And the first thing it does, it brings up this beautiful dashboard. Um, and what you'll see in the dashboard is as the SSP, the clock in, the nice big clock in button, clock in now. You'll also be able to see time entries that are there. And there is a calendar feature now where you can, if you have regular shifts that you provide and you just want a quick, easy way to do them, you can put them in the calendar. The other thing it allows you to do is to be able to see those time entries and what's going on with them so that you can review your shifts and know exactly what's available. So like I said, you'll see the little dashboard button down at the bottom. That's the first screen you come to. The other thing that I do want to point out is at the top where that little bell is where you'll see your notification. So if a notification is sent, that's usually where you would go to see it. So as an SSP, when you log in, the very first thing it'll ask you is, do you want to take the tour? If you've already familiar with it, can always skip the tour and keep going. But if you forget, just trying to get familiar as you're going, you can go ahead and take the tour. When you're in the tour, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to clock in, or you can add past shifts. You can see those time entries, whether those entries are rejected, whether they're saved, or whether they're waiting approval. You can also see your last paycheck. So when we talk about EVV and we talk about shifts, we're talking about the time for the clocking in, clocking out when you're actually working. And one of the things that we want to see are perfect shifts. Perfect shifts will keep you in the green. And the green is where you want to be because that's where your compliance is highest. So what we put in is a dial that it's red, so it says that your shifts are low. Yellow, they're okay, but we need to do better. And then green are those perfect shifts, and you want to have those perfect shifts each and every time. And one of the reasons we talk very heavily about compliance is that right now the state is not saying how and how much compliance needs to be in order to participate in the program. But there are some states that have moved to very strict compliance levels. So we want to start out in this program practicing the best behavior. And the best behavior is having those perfect shifts. So we've logged in, our username and password from our My account. And the very first thing we're going to do is clock in now. That's when your shift begins. And then you want to choose who you're working for. Some people work for multiple individuals, so you would go ahead and choose the individual that you're working for. And then you're going to choose the service that you're providing. You may have to scroll down because some people have a lot of services listed. Some people have only a few, but you would choose the service and then you would be done. You can put the phone down, it's tracking. The only thing I have to say is that when you go to log in, the application will prompt you if you don't have your location services turned on. So you want to make sure your location service is turned on before you hit that clock in button, because that's how that makes it the first piece of being EVV compliant. Like I said, we need to know where the service is taking place. Then we need to know who's providing. We know you're the person providing the service because you've used your username and password to log in. We know who's receiving the service because you've just chosen that. And we know what service is being provided. The last part is clocking out. So now that your shift is finished, a couple of hours later, you grab your phone, you have to log back in, use your name and password, and then you're going to hit the button end time. And what you will see is you'll see who you are providing the service for, what service, and when you hit end time, it'll tell you how long that service ran for. And then what you do is you hit the submit button if everything looks good. So there's two things that when you hit submit, you can have your clear participant approve it right away, so that you can log out, hand them the phone if that's the choice that you're making. They use their credentials to log in and they approve the shift. Or you can simply say, my employer's going to approve it later. You hit that button and then it'll be there for when the clear and the participant logs in order to do the approval. Couple of things to note: that the pay period is bi-weekly. You want to make sure that you're submitting those shifts timely, so that there's no disruption with your paycheck. Again, when you're looking at this, you can see your time entries. Um, what's rejected so that you can go in and fix it. If you have any saved, and sometimes they're saved because you want to take a look at them again. Um, or if you are currently logged in, it'll say in progress. You're also able to see that last check. And again, that dial, that yellow, red, or green dial telling you where you are with your compliance for your shifts. And again, we want to make sure that we're having those perfect shifts. But I say all of that, and then I'm going to tell you that we know things happen and that you may need to do a manual entry. For some reason, you forgot to clock in or clock out, or because something was going on. And this should be an exception. This should not be the rule that you're going in creating manual entries each and every time. So if you have to create a manual entry, what does that look like? You're going to log in, once again, username and password. Um, Once you've chosen who you're working for, you're going to first choose add a past shift. Then you're going to choose who you're working for. You're going to choose the service that you're providing. And then the last piece of it is where it becomes manual. You're going to click on the pencil button. You're going to roll the date the to what the date is of the shift that you missed. You're also going to roll the time. And then you're going to do the same for the end. You're going to adjust the date and adjust the time. You're going to check what activities you provided, and then you're going to hit submit. I know it says notes here, and that note feature is going to be an optional feature in this program. Your service notes will continue to be your service notes. This note is not to replace service notes. So make sure that that is something that um, you understand that as the SSP, you still have to do your service notes. Okay, so what are some reasons that may occur where your shift doesn't go in and you end up saving it because it's giving you a message? One of those is that sometimes the participant may not be authorized for that particular service, or the data service that they're authorized for the service, but the service doesn't start until maybe a week um, out. So you're thinking it starts today, it starts next week. You're not able to put that shift in. Or when it's time for recertification, if paperwork is not turned in timely, your status can go from good to go to not being good to go. And if you're not good to go because there's any kind of missing paperwork or a background check or something like that, that shift is not going to go. The other thing, when we're nearing the end of the authorization period, there may not be enough left on the authorization when you go to submit it. So it will pen. But whenever you encounter where your shift is not going through, please make sure that you let someone know so that we can take a look at it. Because like I said, there's a number of reasons that may cause your shift not to go through. So if you are the clear the participant, what does your dashboard look like when you log in? When you log in, you're logging in to view the submitted time entries that are needing your approval. You can click on the view all so that it drops down so that you can see it. And then you can either tap and look at each entry individually and approve them or reject them individually, or you can click select all and have the ability to approve everything all at once. Once you have gone through everything, the app will let you know that you're all caught up. And if you log in and there is a SSP currently logged in and working, you'll also be able to see that and see how long they've been logged in. So and then there's a couple other things that you may be interested in. Of course, you can go under the settings where you can see the guides, tutorials, those type of things. The little bell where you'll see notifications. And if you're interested, you can even see the payroll information for your SSPs. As the employer, like I said, your job is to look at those entry shifts that have been submitted. When you're on your dashboard, you can select all and do them all at once, like I said, or you can do them individually one at a time. But it'll always tell you what's awaiting approval. And if you've rejected something, you'll also be able to see that. You can also approve time and look at these time entries. If you're like me and you don't like smaller devices, you can use your desktop computer, logging into your My account and be able to review those. As I mentioned, if you do not have um, access to a smart device. You can also use your landline, that telephony option, where you register the line with our customer service agent, so that you can still use it to clock in and clock out. And once you call customer service and you register that line, they'll give you further instruction as to exactly what that looks like, what number to call in order for you to be able to do those perfect shifts. Some of the frequently asked questions that we've come across has a lot to do with the transition. So we started taking the transitional enrollment paperwork in January. Our goal is to have everybody um, finish those transition enrollments. New enrollments start with us March 1st. We have our last date where you will be submitting time to PALCO as March 9th. The first day for submittal to PPL will be March 10th. If you are working an overnight shift that weekend, on March 9th at 11:59, you are going to log out of PALCO system and log into Time4Care. Um, I would say around 12:01 on March 10th and to make sure. The other thing is it is the weekend where we spring forward. All of that technology will be taking place on the back end, so you don't have to worry about any of that. You're just going to clock in, clock out as you normally would. The other thing to keep in mind is that the last day for payment through PALCO is going to be March 22nd. The first day through PPL will be April 5th. So again, that biweekly payroll cycle starts March 10th, and then the first payroll check is issued April 5th. I will again say that if you have not already completed your enrollment paperwork, please make sure you do so, because that is the critical first step, is having that done so that there is no disruption in your services. If you need to contact us, the customer service number is 1-800-249-0861. The administrative email address is paodp@pplfirst.com. Customer service has an email address, so if you have a question and you don't want to sit on the phone, you can send an email, and their email address is paodp-cs@pplfirst.com. Our customer service operational hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Saturday, we're there from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you need any further information, we post everything to our website, so you can go ahead and visit www.pplfirst.com/welcome-Pennsylvanians. I hope you have had a great informative session here, and we will adjourn.